So the purges on social media continue and expand their definitions and include people who are anti-war, who are just ordinary people fighting the culture war, because the media now, like The Atlantic, frames them as, like Paul Joseph Watson, as far-right extremists. So Paul Joseph Watson, for talking about the culture war, for being a part of InfoWars, for talking about conspiracies, he's now a far-right extremist, is he? Akin with, like, you know, people who cut people's heads off. Except, no, the social media companies don't care about people that cut people's heads off. They allow ISIS, they allow Antifa, they allow violent people, they allow Hamas, they allow tweets by Hamas. Same with Twitter. The whole social media spectrum allows left-wing violence, extreme left-wing violence, far left-wing violence. It just stops, it just goes after the people that they perceive as populists, perceive as right-wing, or perceive as anti-globalist. I was thinking, what the hell is Milo doing on Facebook anyway? What the hell's Paul Joseph Watson? What's Alex Jones still doing on Facebook? I thought he was banned ages ago. I thought people were unpersoned for actually using his face or using an image of his face, but apparently he was on Facebook. I don't know why. Because no info warrior would be on Facebook. They would already have been purged already. So everyone's now flocking to alternative social media, things like Parler, which has experienced a resurgence in new members today, and MeWe, and lots of alternative social media. They were experiencing a sudden boom, and it's really good for the business, basically. It's good when this happens. I want Twitter to ban Trump, to block Trump, so that he leaves Twitter, and then everyone else goes as well, and then Twitter drops down dead. Finally. Because that would be its death knell. That would kill it dead. And that's what we want. We don't want people to fight and moan that they've been removed from social media and say, oh, we need to get back on Facebook, oh, we need to get back on Twitter. Have your tantrum, have your come down from missing dopamine or whatever, get on alternative social media and abandon the old platforms. You don't need them. You don't need to live like that. You don't need to live like you're a criminal, in fear all the time that they're going to ban you, that they're going to punish you for some arbitrary reason that they decided in their algorithm. Like you mentioned Parler, or you mentioned MeWe, so they're going to ban you, because obviously that's not allowed, because that means you're going to be advertising alternatives, and they don't want to lose people, so they have to ban them for using the words. That's what the algorithms will do in the future. Just get off the platforms and don't go back to them. And that message should really be sent to all the prominent conservatives that still use Twitter. People like Raheem Kassam, people like Imam Tawhidi, or Chuck Woolery, or all the Breitbart people, all the media outlets, etc. Just abandon Twitter. There's no reason to stay on it. It's not the public square. There was an illusion that it was the public square, but it's only been around for 10 years, and already it's dying. The public square has been around for hundreds of years. Twitter has no right to call itself the public square. Twitter is a here today, gone tomorrow fad. We might dictate the news cycle with it now, but because so many people are leaving and it's dropping so rapidly in shares and so on and betraying so many people, and its creator was guilty of perjury, just like Zuckerberg, etc. That's why they're all running to government to ensure monopolies and hegemony in the future, indefinitely. Meanwhile, alternative media platforms, Gab, Parler, MeWe, Telegram, whatever it is, they're shooting up, whereas the mainstream ghettos are going down. So they've started censoring and they've lost their monopoly. Ooh, and now people are not wanting to stay on their platforms, being prodded and bullied. Who'd have thought? Because we didn't sign up to be bullied when we signed up to go on those apps. They were supposed to be for fun. Now they've stopped being fun. Stop using them. That's all it comes down to. And conservatives have to make the leap and use something else. And that's the difficult thing. Everyone's reluctant to change. But we really do have to change. We have to stop using the mainstream platforms that we've been conditioning ourselves to use and telling ourselves it's fun. No, it's the only option. No, it's where everyone is. It's not where everyone is if everyone leaves. And trust me, everyone is leaving. These platforms, these alternative platforms are no longer lonely. New digital public squares are being generated all the time. They're new squares, you just have to use them, and when you use them, they become the public square. You see, it just depends on what the people do. It's not the structure of the thing that... It's not the thing that facilitates the chatting. Basically, it's just the fact that we can chat, and if we don't need their facilities, if we don't need Twitter, we've got the same thing that can do the exact same thing. We don't need them, we can just bypass them completely. F their censorship, F their algorithms. I'm not allowed to say swear words because I get banned. We don't need to be enslaved, and we don't need to be subject to their arbitrary algorithms if we don't use their platforms. We can talk freely amongst each other again, like the internet was, and not worry about it. We don't have to live in fear of being censored because we said something that was politically inconvenient. If we don't use their platforms, there are platforms and they are busy. And try and get everyone in your Facebook ghetto right now to move over to those platforms. Try and get everyone to leave and get these alternative platforms, because that's what we need to do. We need to abandon the old platforms because they aren't what they were, and they're not going to get any more free. We're not going to get any more freedom by staying with them. We're going to get a lot less. We're also going to be a lot more unsafe, and we're going to get doxxed more because they're going to ban anonymity. And you know as well as I do that it's only a matter of time before they ban comments on YouTube, because YouTube is run by Google, and Google is part of the Gulag. So we need alternatives to YouTube, but there don't seem to be any at the moment because we're still happy using YouTube, including me. We might have collectively moved on from Twitter and Facebook, but we haven't moved on from YouTube. We still depend on YouTube. And judging by what they're doing recently with recent decisions, that has to change.